Before the injuries, before the pain, Penny Hardaway was basketball's new reign. A guard so tall with skills so bright, he lit up courts night after night. Magic's vision, Jordan's grace, Penny had them all in one place. 6'7" frame with hands so slick, crossovers that'd make you sick. They called him the future, the next big thing. A hoops phenomenon that made courts sing. Magic and MJ rolled into one. Penny's rise had just begun. In Orlando blue, alongside Shaq, this dynamic duo was on the attack. But fate had plans to change the game and alter the course of Penny's fame. So let's rewind to '95 when Penny's skills were so alive. We'll break down moves that dropped the jaw and show you why they all saw a legend in the making, smooth as silk, before the story took a different ilk. Get ready to witness Penny in his prime, a baller so sweet it should be a crime. When talking on Penny's bag of skills, you have to start with his devastating post-up ability. Standing at 6'7", Penny had a significant size advantage over most point guards, and he knew exactly how to use it. In his short, healthy years with the Magic, Hardaway's post-game was a nightmare for defenders. He'd back smaller guards down with ease, using his great footwork and agility. Once he got to his spot, it was over. Penny was a master at using his lower body to create space and find openings to lose his defender. He'd lean into defenders, then, with his elite quickness, suddenly explode for a layup or a posterizing dunk. It wasn't just about bullying smaller point guards. He had the ability to work the post against larger defenders, including great defensive guards in the likes of Michael Jordan. Hardaway's length and high release made his turnaround jumper tough to block, even for taller defenders. He could shoot over the top of most guards and was comfortable doing so from different spots on the floor. With his great jumping ability, his fadeaway was lethal, already in his early years in the league. Penny's touch in the post was a perfect complement to his size and skill. It allowed him to score efficiently against a variety of defenders. His body control and footwork were elite, and he used them to keep defenders guessing and off balance. A quality we rarely see nowadays is the ability to catch and go. And back then, Penny executed it to perfection. With his unreal quickness, he loved to go on the catch before his defender could react. This lightning-fast move was a cornerstone of Hardaway's offensive arsenal, showcasing his exceptional blend of athleticism, basketball IQ, and anticipation. Penny's passing ability made doubling him on the post a risky proposition. Teams had to choose between letting him operate one-on-one down low or risking an open shot elsewhere. He had an uncanny ability to sense the double team before it fully committed, resulting in open look for his teammates often. Despite being a primary ball handler, Hardaway's off-ball movement and cutting ability were often overlooked yet crucial aspects of his game. Playing with a double team and triple team machine like Shaq, Penny's cutting created a lot of easy baskets for him. With his great understanding of floor spacing and timing, he knew exactly when to make his cuts for maximum impact. Hardaway had a knack for converting plays in one fluid motion, a product of his exceptional basketball IQ, agility, and athleticism. This ability to seamlessly transition from one action to another made him unpredictable and highly efficient on the court. Here, Penny senses the double team coming, but he's too deep in the post and has the tiny Muggsy Bogues guarding him. Barbecue chicken for Penny. In one motion, he gathers the ball, adjusts his position in midair, and lays it in before the double team can alter his shot attempt. Penny's anticipation and creativity allowed him to pull off some of the greatest assists in NBA history. Here, he reads the trajectory of the miss perfectly, grabs the rebound, and while still in midair, throws a behind-the-back no-look pass to Horace Grant. A spectacular play by Penny. Before the injuries, Penny aggressively pursued offensive rebounds, and once he had the opportunity, he would immediately convert them into points, without landing or bringing the ball down to his waist. It seemed Penny always knew where he was in relation to the basket, defenders, and boundaries, even in chaotic situations, and he used this elite court awareness, quick thinking, agility, and creativity to convert crazy shots. Hardaway's three-point shooting is an interesting aspect of his game to analyze, especially when we consider the context of the era he played in and how the game has evolved since then. During Penny's prime years in the mid-90s, three-point shooting wasn't emphasized nearly as much as it is in today's NBA. Penny averaged only 3.2 three-point attempts per game over his Orlando Magic career, which is low by today's standards for a primary ball handler. However, it's crucial to note that Penny's shooting form was fundamentally sound. As mentioned, he had a high release point and could get his shot off over most defenders. His shots were often well-balanced, even off the dribble, and he showcased a soft touch shooting the ball. Given these factors, it's safe to estimate that Penny could have been a good three-point shooter in today's game. Without utilizing the three-pointer much, Penny's mid-range game and fadeaway jumper were integral components of his offensive arsenal. Hardaway excelled at creating space with his dribble and pulling up for smooth jumpers, and he could do it from various spots in the mid-range area. His fadeaway jumper was indeed reminiscent of Michael Jordan's iconic shot. Like Jordan, Penny could rise up high on his fadeaway, creating separation from defenders to get a clear look at the basket. Penny had one of the hardest signature moves to emulate, the legendary spin-step back move, and he mastered it. This was one of Penny's most prettiest and unique moves, and it was also effective at making space. The fake made the defenders think he's going to pull his killer spin move in order to drive to the basket. When they were leaning, Penny dropped the step back to shoot. Talking on Penny's spin move, this move was a devastating weapon in his arsenal, showcasing his combination of his speed, agility, and footwork. But the quickness of his spin was remarkable for a player his size, often leaving defenders flat-footed, and he could execute it with equal effectiveness from both sides of the floor. Applying this spin move, Penny knew exactly how to lose his defender and how far it'll get him from the basket. Here, he knows he is one spin away from the oop. He shakes Pippen, gathers the ball to protect it from Pippen's reach, and lays it up easily. And again here. He gets to his spot, gathers it while spinning, and punishes the rim before the help arrives. This is to me one of the most beautiful plays in NBA history. In transition, Penny stops on a dime and unleashes his lightning-quick killer spin move on the Heat. His defender had no chance defending it. This move was just one example of why many considered Penny one of the most electrifying players of his era. While Penny wasn't primarily known as a shot blocker, his defensive capabilities in this area were certainly noteworthy, especially for a guard. He averaged 0.5 blocks per game with the Magic, while most of his blocks came as a help defender. Hardaway's ability to steal the ball was a significant and often underappreciated aspect of his game. Averaging 1.9 steals per game with the Orlando Magic is an impressive statistic that highlights his thievery prowess. With a 7-foot wingspan, his arms allowed him to deflect passes and poke the ball away from dribblers, and he often disrupted opponent offenses and created easy scoring opportunities for his team. Penny's ability to handle the ball like a point guard while possessing the size of a forward made him a matchup nightmare and a prototype for the modern positionless player. At 6'7", Penny had exceptional ball control for his height. His crossover was lightning quick and devastatingly effective. In traffic, he navigated through tight spaces with ease, using his handle to weave through defenses. His handle was not just functional, but aesthetically pleasing, making him a fan favorite. Using his quick first step and long strides, Penny could blow by perimeter defenders with ease. His long arms allowed him to extend past defenders for clean looks at the rim, finishing with power layups, finesse finger rolls, and floaters. His floater was effective from different distances and areas, even from just inside the free throw line. Sometimes teams had to send 2 or 3 defenders to stop his drives, yet he could still find ways to finish at the rim. When the bigs were out on the perimeter trying to check him, Penny would use his elite quickness to blow by them with ease. With Shaq setting the screen, his massive presence drew significant defensive attention. As we see here, Hakeem didn't want to commit to helping on Penny since he knew the lob to Shaq was coming, resulting in an easy dunk for Penny inside. When the defense built a wall against his drives, Penny used his great elevation for short pull-up jumpers over his defender. He masterfully employed ball fakes to freeze defenders, then showcased his creativity at the rim with an array of acrobatic, circus-like finishes that left spectators and opponents alike in awe. Teams with smaller guards looked to trap Penny before he even crossed half court. However, Penny had the ball handling skills and basketball IQ to keep the ball safe and release it at just the right time to create an open path for his teammate. Hardaway's approach to the game was quintessentially that of a pass-first player, embodying the true essence of a point guard despite his atypical size for the position. His court vision and decision-making were elite, constantly scanning the floor for the optimal play. Here, isolating against Steph's father, Penny gets him up in the air, a situation where most players would take the open shot. Instead, he decides to pass it to Shaq, who converts with a monster dunk. Penny had an exceptional ability to read the entire court. He consistently kept his head up, surveying all options before making a decision. He often saw plays developing before they happened. He could anticipate teammate movements and defensive rotations, allowing him to make passes that seemed to arrive just as a player got open. Penny's passing creativity was truly a sight to behold, setting him apart as one of the most innovative and entertaining playmakers of his era. His arsenal of passes went far beyond the conventional, turning each possession into a potential highlight reel. He had an uncanny ability to sell his no-look passes. He'd often use his eyes to misdirect defenders, looking one way while delivering pinpoint passes in another direction. He could thread these passes through tight spaces, often catching defenders off guard. Whether in transition or in half-court sets, these passes added an element of unpredictability to Orlando's offense. Measured at 6'7" with excellent leaping ability, Penny could rise up quickly and get well above the rim. His vertical leap allowed him to dunk over taller defenders. Hardaway didn't shy away from contact. He would often drive straight at opposing big men, using his body to create space before elevating for powerful dunks. He had an impressive hang time, allowing him to adjust in mid-air. This ability let him evade shot blockers or absorb contact and still finish strong at the rim. He could dunk with either hand and from various angles. This versatility made it difficult for defenders to anticipate and block his attempts. Hardaway's dunks over big men became memorable moments in his career, contributing to his status as one of the most exciting players of the 1990s. These plays not only energized his team and fans, but also demoralized opponents, serving as a reminder of the multifaceted threat that Penny presented every time he stepped on the court.